The sun's out today, although a lot of the clouds are sticking around. Looks like there's a ton of people outside too, competing in like sports stuff. Could be because of all the news about the Olympic stuff, the gold medals. You see it all the time, then all of a sudden you want to participate in it in some form. Got me to think too, because I know often for people who buy a drone, they'll say, oh, they bought it because they want to fly it, but they never actually fly that much. So how about this one? Imagine a really expensive one. This says, this cutting edge drone is headed out to pasture at an Air Force museum. The Valkyrie is a fancy drone designed to escort a fighter jet. It only flew a few times. After just a handful of flights, the first of the Air Force's Valkyrie drones is off to its own dignified afterlife on display at the National Museum of the US Air Force. Having made just a few test flights, the XQ-58A Valkyrie Trail No. 1 is now a historical curio. The uncrewed Valkyrie drones as they exist in Air Force experiments are intended to be autonomous escorts for much more expensive inhabited fighter jets. With its few flights and fast retirement, Trail No. 1 is demonstrating another key part of the Valkyrie's mission. It's designed to be expendable. What exactly is the cost? According to this thing costs $2 million, and to them it's a bargain because it says an F-35A that's human piloted costs about $78 million. I guess it is cheaper, but still, that's still expensive, isn't it? Like a lot of money. But I guess with cheaper drones, there's more news about people being terrified of, I would assume, is a consumer drone. This one says, Trail Police investigating furtive filming by drone. The Trail and Greater District RCMP received an early morning call on July 31st from a complainant who reported a drone was flying in a Fruitville neighborhood in the 1-800 block, Cole Street. Police say the drone pilot was suspected to be recording video footage of a homeowner through a window of a private residence. Trail RCMP is investigating this case as mischief contrary to the criminal code and Canadian aviation regulations. What are the odds that this is actually true or just general hysteria again, where people assume it's a drone, it's spying on me and all that, even though so many of them have wide angle lens and all that? You gotta go literally right in front of the window or something like that to be, quote, spying. Although this point made me think too. It says here, according to Transport Canada, privacy laws may not mention drones by name, but these laws do apply to pictures, videos, or other information collected by a drone. Some violations of a person's privacy may go beyond privacy laws and may be offenses that result in charges. And they talk about things like using it for voyeurism and all that. That's one of the points where I mentioned before. There's already existing laws to deal with people who use something in a bad way, like here. If someone's using it for, quote, voyeurism, you don't need an over-the-top regulation, let's just say for a, quote, drone. You charge them in general under whatever the privacy law and stuff is, because it doesn't matter what the person uses. A smartphone, a DSLR, a mirrorless camera with like these super telephoto lens. There were stories of what? Some kind of like police officer or something like that. They were like perverts. They were using those high-powered cameras from the helicopters to tape like, I don't know, naked people or something like that. So in general, again, there's already existing laws that deals with this stuff. With that thought, actually, it reminds me of this story I read where apparently in China, they're really cracking down on big tech company for some odd reason. And this one here says, China's tech crackdown widens to Tencent from Alibaba. Communist Party scrambles to rein in country's online giants. Chinese authorities are cracking down harder on the country's tech titans of late, putting the internet service company's Tencent holdings in their sights after doing the same to e-commerce leader Alibaba Group Holding. Ostensibly, regulators are focused on anti-competitive practices and protecting customers' personal information. But many observers believe the move is motivated by desire to keep mighty IT companies in check. That would generate a lot of, I guess, skepticism. They're saying they are worried about people's personal information, like a communist party. Tencent's WeChat messaging service said on July 27 that it had temporarily suspended registration of new users, reportedly to beef up its information security system as called for by Chinese regulators. The reprimand to Tencent is seen as part of the Chinese government's drive since last year to strictly apply the anti-monopoly law and force the company to tighten controls over personal information. So would you believe that in that case where, like they say, it's about safety, I guess you could say, people's personal information, or would you say it's about control in that sense? Again, I can just imagine so many people that are just being skeptical in terms of that decision. Because just from all the stuff I read, every time when someone just says, we're doing it just for your safety, and they don't provide any real, I guess, data, analysis, studies and all that, it just doesn't sound, I guess, true overall. There seems to be some kind of other motivation involved. For example, commercial reasons or whatever it may be. Alright, see you guys later.